Alright, so I'm back. And this is now for the module 6 of your subject for today, no? So the topic is all about global politics, governance, and the globalization in the Asian Pacific and South Asia. Now, okay. Now, when you say South Asia, no, brief introduction lang, no? Sandali. Yeah. Okay. So, when you say South Asia, it talks about India. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other parts of South Asia. Now, when you say South Asia, it is a region a region is peculiar. Its trade, capital flows, and economic management differ from other regions in how the regions has globalized, although it must be mentioned that there is a lot of diversity within the region. Okay. Its trade characteristics are different from the East Asia. Now, alam naman natin kasi na East Asia is composed of China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and other parts, no? While East Asia benefited from an export-led growth and strategy based on manufactured goods, the size of manufacturing sector in South Asia is relatively small. So there are some examples of success in garment export from Bangladesh or Sri Lanka in this sense, but its experience is no different from East Asia. Now, if you notice, sa South Asia kasi, their main product is the garment industry. Now, kung mapapansin nyo, no, dito sa atin sa Olonga po, you will see some garment stores, parang ukay-ukay, pero it's like a factory overruns that came from Bangladesh. No? So, siguro yun yung mga excess o yung mga surplus, no, ng mga na products nila o yung pinatawag natin factory overruns. Now, but most South Asian countries have much larger service sector. They seem to have benefited more from modern services export and traditional service export such as remittances. Now, India's growth has been spearheaded by exports of modern services and less by goods export. Remittances and traditional services export are important to Bangladesh and Nepal. Are services export as vulnerable as goods export to the global downturn? There seems to be emerging evidence that service exports are more resilient compared to goods exports. Globalization of services is still at an early stage, so as consumers pullback in the United States service trade is likely to be less impacted compared to goods trade, as consumers and firms still want to access more and cheaper services and benefit from outsourcing. So, can the loss in external demand and reduced trade flows in goods and services by be compensated by increased trade in ideas, knowledge, and technology? So, sa India kasi, they are more on right now sa IT and BPO industries, no? Like, if you go to YouTube right now and go for a tutorial, malamang you have most of the tutorials that you will see is from the Indians, no? Kasi sila yung malamang ngayon sa in terms sa Asia, no, when it comes to technology. Now, also in BPO industry, no, if correct me if I'm wrong, but in sa BPO industry, aside from the Philippines itself, India is also number 1 in terms of BPO industries. Kaya lang kasi parang ayaw din ng mga customers minsan daw yata sa mga Indians kasi medyo Pilipid daw English. Now, they have huge spillovers. These have huge spillovers and externalities and enhance productivity. The global crisis has not returned and the stock of global knowledge. South Asia has a lot to learn from the USA and Japan. There is a huge room for South Asia to catch up. With development economies, this catch-up can generate growth even if developed economies do not grow, although global growth is better, it is even better. Okay, global inequalities. All societies have past and present have characterized by social differentiation and process in which are set apart for differential treatment by virtue of their statuses, roles, and other social characteristics. Now, this process of social differentiation does not require that people evaluate certain roles and activities as being more important than others. Nevertheless, social differentiation sets the stage for social inequality, which is a condition in which people have an equal access to wealth, power, and prestige. This description fits most of the citizens in the global South. Well, not just in the South Asia alone, no? But anywhere the rest of the world. Take for example the Philippines. No? Sa Pilipinas, unfortunately, we have unequal access to wealth. No? Isipin nyo, yung mga mayayaman, mas lalong yung mayaman. Paano yung mga mahihirap? I don't want to judge, pero mas lalo tayo humihirap. Diba? Kasi, minsan, yung access natin sa pera, wala. Minsan, wala pang ang pera. And even the wage itself, no? Minsan, nagkakaroon din ng unequal opportunity or unequal pay. Now, reasons of analyzing state and interstate inequalities. Una, the decolonization process produced state now recognized sovereign under the system of international law promoted by the United Nations. The likelihood of being poor is higher from the people who lives in a state now considered associated with the global South regions like Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Most of these countries were colonized and they are inadequately represented in the global organization and the various international banks. Solutions to problems produced by globalization are largely forwarded and articulated on a state level. Now, this state remains the main mechanisms for social transfers, making the strongest vehicle for the social redistribution. So even phenomena largely considered transnational are a result of these state policies. Acts of deterritorialization such as labor, migration need to be replaced in the context of the state. Now, sa case ng mga OFW natin, no, it's a good example. Yung mga remittances na pinapadala nila, no, galing abroad, can boost the domestic economy. No? Nagpapadala sila. And then, let's say for example, galing Saudi or galing Dubai, yung pera, no? And i-remit nila yan dito sa Pilipinas. So, dadaan sa bangko sa Pilipinas. On the other hand, yung pinadala nilang foreign currency will be converted to Philippine peso at yun yung kanilang makukuha ng mga kapamilya, kapuso o kaya kapatid. No? So, parang ganun lang. No? Kasi yung cash flow could help the economy also. Now, okay, in this sense, okay, transnational globalization spheres are already prefigured by the policies of the state authorities. Colonialism, how the Global South responded. How have people of the Global South responded to colonialism and other linear visionaries of modernity? The following are some of the variations in different degrees. Una, solidarity. The notion of solidarity among colonized states were present from the beginning of anti-colonialism. Such solidarities would serve as the foundation for contemporary conception of Global South. Anderson has shown that full resistance against Spanish colonialism in Latin America and the Philippines benefited from the increased interaction of political dissidents amidst an early phase of globalization in the 19th century. A globalization that allowed for the spreading of the anarchist and anti-colonial ideas. Then you have the social internationalism. The socialist internationalism, or the union of socialist parties, which are now called as the Social Democrats, paved the way for the theories that examine the world economic system in the light of exploitative interaction between core and peripheral economies. Decolonization. The end of the Second World War was a high point of decolonization. The creation of the United Nations in 1945 paved the way for granting independence of over 80 ex-colonist countries. International law has ceased to formally divide the world into civilized and uncivilized nations. The enshrinement of the principles of self-determination, post-colonial nationalism could justify their causes with range of international law. So, countries such as like Malaysia reveals how criticism of neo-colonialism may turn reactionary. Furtherly, this hints that the fact that the third worldism is implicated in a greater project of global modernism. So in addition to differences in language and culture, the variations among states and people in this region is enormous. Some of the world's most economically developed states are included in this region, such as Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and Taiwan. On the contrary, it includes highly impoverished countries such as Cambodia, Laos, Nepal, and Nepal. It includes the largest and most populous states on the globe, such as China and India, with over million people, and some of the world's smallest, such as Maldives and Bhutan. The countries in this region also vary widely according to geography and political systems, historical experience, and broad demographic characteristics. So the region makes up neatly a third of the world's land mass and two-thirds of the global population. The combined economies of the region now generates the largest share of the global GDP at 35% compared with Europe, which is 28%, and North America, which is 23%. However, despite the economic growth, there are still millions of people affected by poverty, hunger, HIV/AIDS, gender inequality, and other socioeconomic problems in the region. Isama mo na yung pandemic, which is a novel coronavirus 19. No? While Global South are focused on Asia Pacific and South Asia. Now, the Asia Pacific and South Asia have emerged over the past decade as a new political force in the world. This is due to the robust economic growth in China and India, and the strategic implications this brings to regional and global players. Now, Japan still remains relevant through declining force in the region and in the world. The other countries, including the Koreas, Indonesias, Vietnam, Pakistan, all have economic and strategic relevance in today's global system. So, this ends our lecture for Module 6. And if you have any questions, just type it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And of course, the activities for this module, for this lesson, can be found in your module. So until then, I'll see you on the next video, and just chill. No? So see ya later.